Welcome to an active reading of Amy Tan's Rules of the Game. As she has done in parts 1, 2 and 3, Markette Pierce reads the story for you, and helps you understand the themes, the conflicts, the characters and much more. Enjoy it.
First, make sure you become familiar with the vocabulary that will help you understand part 4. Pause the recording so you can get to know the words and their translations.
I no longer played in the alley of Waverly Place. I never visited the playground where all the pigeons and old men gathered. I went to school, then directly home to learn new chess secrets, cleverly concealed advantages, more escape routes. But I found it difficult to concentrate at home. My mother had a habit of standing over me while I plotted out my games. I think she thought of herself as my protective ally. Her lips would be sealed tight, and after each move I made, a soft would escape from her nose. "Ma, I can't practice when you stand there like that," I said one day. She retreated to the kitchen and made loud noises with the pots and pans. When the crashing stopped, I could see out of the corner of my eye that she was standing in the doorway. Only this one came out of her tight throat. My parents made many concessions to allow me to practice. One time I complained that the bedroom I shared was so noisy that I couldn't think. Thereafter, my brother slept in a bed in the living room facing the street. I said I couldn't finish my rice. My head didn't work right when my stomach was too full. I left the table with half-finished bowls and nobody complained. But there was one duty I could not avoid. I had to accompany my mother on Saturday market days when I had no tournament to play. My mother would proudly walk with me, visiting many shops, buying very little. "This my daughter, Waverly Jean," she said to whoever looks her way. One day after we left the shop, I said under my breath, "I wish you wouldn't do that, telling everybody I'm your daughter." My mother stopped walking. Crowds of people with heavy bags pushed past us on the sidewalk, bumping into first one shoulder, then another. "Ay, ya, so shame be with mother?" She grasped my hand even tighter as she glared at me. I looked down. "It's not bad. It's just so obvious. It's just so embarrassing." "Embarrassed you be my daughter?" Her voice was cracking with anger. "It's not what I meant. That's not what I said." "What you say?" I knew it was a mistake to say anything more, but I heard my voice speaking. "Why do you have to use me to show off? If you want to show off, then why don't you learn to play chess?" My mother's eyes turned into dangerous black slits. She had no words for me, just sharp silence.
Now stop to answer the following questions, please. Why is it difficult for Waverly to concentrate at home? What further concessions do her parents make to allow her to practice? Why is May May embarrassed? Why does her mother think she is embarrassed?
She had no words for me, just sharp silence. I felt the wind rushing around my hot ears. I jerked my hand out of my mother's tight grasp and spun around, knocking into an old woman. Her bag of groceries spilled to the ground. "Ay-ya, stupid girl!" my mother and the woman cried. Oranges and tin cans careened down the sidewalk. As my mother stooped to help the old woman pick up the escaping food, I took off. I raced down the street, dashing between people, not looking back as my mother screamed shrilly, "My May! My May!" I fled down an alley past dark curtained shops and merchants washing the grime off their windows. I sped into the sunlight, into a large street crowded with tourists examining trinkets and souvenirs. I ducked into another dark alley, down another street, up another alley. I ran until it hurt and I realized I had nowhere to go, that I was not running from anything. The alleys contained no escape routes. My breath came out like angry smoke. It was cold. I sat down on an upturned plastic pail next to a stack of empty boxes, cupping my chin with my hands, thinking hard. I imagined my mother, first walking briskly down one street or another looking for me, then giving up and returning home to await my arrival. After 2 hours, I stood up on creaking legs and slowly walked home.
Now pause to answer the following question, please. Why do you think May May Runs away.
The alley was quiet, and I could see the yellow lights shining from our flat like two tigers' eyes in the night. I climbed the 16 steps to the door, advancing quietly up each so as not to make any warning sounds. I turned the knob. The door was locked. I heard a chair moving, quick steps, the locks turning click, 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 and then the door opened. "About time you got home," said Vincent. "Boy, are you in trouble." He slid back to the dinner table. On a platter were the remains of a large fish, its fleshy head still connected to bones swimming upstream in vain escape. Standing there waiting for my punishment, I heard my mother speak in a dry voice. "We not concerning this girl. This girl not have concerning for us." Nobody looked at me. Bone chopsticks clinked against the inside of bowls being emptied into hungry mouths. I walked into my room, closed the door, and lay down on my bed. The room was dark, the ceiling filled with shadows from the dinner-time lights of neighboring flats. In my head, I saw a chessboard with 64 black and white squares. Opposite me was my opponent, two angry black slits. She wore a triumphant smile. "Strongest wind cannot be seen," she said.
Now pause to answer the following question, please. Why do you think Mei Mei considers her mother the victor of their battle?
Your black men advanced across the plain, slowly marching to each successive level as a single unit. My white pieces screamed as they scurried and fell off the board one by one. As her men drew closer to my edge, I felt myself growing light. I rose up into the air and flew out the window, higher and higher above the alley, over the tops of tiled roofs, where I was gathered up by the wind and pushed up toward the night sky until everything below me disappeared and I was alone. I closed my eyes and pondered my next move.
This is the end of part 4. Thank you, Markette Pierce, for the beautiful way you have read rules of the game.
And you pupils, please turn to the other activities that you're asked to do. Goodbye.